Period fact. During a humanitarian crisis, aka natural disasters, yes, that include hurricanes, about 1 in 3 women and girls, roughly 34%, lack access to necessary sanitary napkins and other menstrual supplies, making it difficult for them to manage their periods safely and with dignity. Everyday Period removes the mystery, the stigma, and awkwardness surrounding reproductive health and brings empowering, real conversations to the forefront. This is a space where we talk with real people about real experiences, honestly, openly, and without shame, to normalize conversations about periods, bodies, and reproductive health as a part of everyday life. Welcome to Everyday Period. I am your host, Shelly-Ann Weeks, author, activist, and your guide as we navigate the murky waters of all things reproductive health. Now, periods don't stop, not even for hurricanes. Of course, we know October 28th changed Jamaica. It's a day we'll never forget because Hurricane Melissa landed, Category 5 hurricane, and swept across our island, leaving destruction and disruption. And so we had quite a few parishes impacted, western parishes mainly, Westmoreland, Hanover, Trelawney, what am I forgetting? St. James, St. Elizabeth, quite a few parishes. And even though they faced the bulk of the devastation, Melissa was an all-island event because there were Jamaicans who were impacted right across the island, even though it wasn't as bad as the central and western part. But amid the chaos, we recognize that periods don't stop for hurricanes. And so Her Flow launched our Recover with Dignity campaign. And with that campaign, we focused on providing menstrual products, hygiene products, and personal care items. Because we recognize that even in the middle of the devastation, people needed to recover with dignity. And through that campaign, we have distributed over 500,000 products to Jamaicans right across the island. And we continue our work because the recovery continues. And we really just want to encourage and thank everybody who has been supporting us so far in this endeavor, because this process is going to take years and the support is going to need to be ongoing. So I want to say a big thank you to everybody who has been supporting us thus far. Now, of course, as we recover with dignity, I want to talk with a colleague of mine, a very, very good friend of mine, about some of the work that she has been doing to help with the recovery efforts. And of course, I'm talking about none other than Dr. Kimone Young, who is back on Everyday Period today. And she is, lots of things have happened since you saw her last because she is a beauty queen now, obviously. I mean, look at her. She is the current Miss Cosmos. And she has spent quite a bit of time in the areas giving back since the hurricane. And, she knows about the affected communities and she has seen firsthand some of the damage that has been done. And so we want to explore some of the strategies, some of the supportive resources that we can use to help restore life with dignity as we all recover from this disaster. Hi, Kimon.
Hi, Shelly.
How you doing?
I'm good.
The information shared on Everyday Period is for educational and informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of a qualified healthcare provider with any questions or concerns you may have regarding your health or medical condition. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay seeking it because of something you heard on this program. Your health is unique, and only a medical professional can provide personalized guidance. All right, so we're just going to jump right into it. Now, Kimon, I know that you have already been very busy as it relates to outreach, and you have been doing a lot of work. We have collaborated on some projects in the past, but first of all, how was the hurricane for you?
Wow, the hurricane for me was a pause moment. I won't take it away. Sometimes storms allow you, when they're coming, to pause and really focus on preparation when it hits and then how you recover. So it allowed me to really focus on the metaphor of storms in my own life. in terms of the actual impact, I was in Kingston, so it wasn't as great. But for the friends I had in the West, it was heartbreaking, heart-rendering, and eye-opening as well. Because you can also just see some gaps in terms of access to care, accessibility, equity. There's so many things that make you recognize that we all live in Jamaica, but everybody's lived experience is different.
Correct.
So that's what the storm was for me. And that thing, that buzzword everybody was having about, survivor's guilt. I recognize that it was so easy for Jamaicans to remember our true nature. By far, we are people who will always help with one.
Yes.
That's always our heart. And what I loved was that the entire island of Jamaica and the diaspora, nobody hesitated to come and assist, which reminded me that yes, little, but we tolerate, but we also have the best support ever. Because there are other islands or countries that will go through things like this and they can't speak to the level of support.
Come on, we name good a road. They can say it.
Name good
We
a
name
road.
good a road.
Yes.
And the truth is, there are lots of persons who are very invested in ensuring that Jamaica is taken care of.
Yeah.
And right now, I just want to just take a moment to personally big up the entertainment fraternity.
True.
Because regardless of what you think about them personally, they stepped up, they put their money where their mouths were,
All of
and
them.
they got on the ground and they showed up. And I cannot say enough about the brethren named Usain Bolt. Listen, for all the people who's debating about whether or not he should get national hero status, I don't know what else you want from him. I'll leave it there. So
But it's true, the entertainment industry really stepped forward. Like when you saw all the people coming in, it made you understand that they really hold a large portion of what makes up our economy.
Yes.
Tourism, yes, but entertainment industry.
Yes.
And it was lovely to see everybody come to help each other.
Yes, so let's talk about recovery. Personally, I spent a lot of time preparing before the storm. I wanted to ensure that we had access to products. I took stock of what we had from her flow, just to make sure that I know that we needed to hit the ground running after the hurricane, because periods is something that is not at the forefront. Everybody agrees that in an emergency, people have basic necessities. What's considered basic necessities?
Food, water, shelter.
Boom. No period, no another conversation there. And that is something that I would like to see change, because periods products are also basic necessities.
It's true.
Because if them belly full, them have shelter, and them have all the water, and them can't manage them period, we have not completed the basic necessities. So it is something that I really want us to add to the conversation and in improving the way we do recovery efforts and emergency care, is that we must ensure that we include periods in that conversation. So right away, I just want to find out from you, you go through the hurricane. It was terrifying for me. At one point, I showed my house lift up. That's how it felt to me.
That wind.
So big up to the people them who was in the eye of the storm, because if I felt so terrified, your heart strong. Sir, ma'am, on a heart working fine, because I probably would have palpitate if I was caught in that particular position.
And it's good to see that after the storm, everybody's just like, we have life.
Yes.
That was a common theme.
Yes.
We have life.
That
Everything gone, but we have life.
And we can start over.
Not true. Not true. But it was scary.
So what inspired you to get involved? I mean, we've had several conversations since the hurricane, just about, what we can do, how we can reach out and all of that. What made you want to go in the spaces and give your support?
Well, remember, I'm also a doctor. So from a healthcare perspective, I wanted to be there because we heard about Black River not having the hospital itself. So even where I work, I was bracing for the impact of increased admissions. And not everybody would have the opportunity to travel to town. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to go in the communities, to be able to offer healthcare there. So I was on site to be able to offer that. And then I have a passion for kidney care, or kidneys. So persons who are on like dialysis or have kidney problems. So I wanted to go to one of the hospitals that were affected, that is one of the dialysis centers in the West, which would have been Cornwall. And when I went there, and just to hear the stories of different patients, I wanted to be able to assist in that way from a medical standpoint, but also as somebody who, in my medical practice, I don't think just about here's your diagnosis and here's your medication. I think about what prevents you from coming, what prevents you from filling my prescription, what prevents you from taking care of yourself so you don't have to come back to see me. So I wanted to be able to go on site and offer the things that they would need that would reduce them coming to me, because it's going to be difficult to now come to me.
Exactly.
So that's why I wanted to go down there. And then there's another initiative I had done that I thought that for the girls who were in schools, because Shelly's my friend, but you'd have had that positive impact. But the girls who were in schools, they might show up to school, yes, but they wouldn't have had the opportunity to feel empowered coming after the storm, because they would have lost everything. They'd have been young, and they're also just starting high school, and navigating that in and of itself is a storm for some young girls.
That is a fact.
So it's literally a storm for some young girls. And I was like, boy, you get double the storm. So let me go to you, speak to you to help you to remember that storms don't last forever, and that you can find help, not just from persons in the parish that you exist in, but from all across Jamaica. We're all here, and you can really come out after it.
Absolutely. Well, you know what? I think that is such an admirable quality, because the truth of the matter is that even though our first response is to take care of the physical needs, there are lots of mental, emotional needs that are still not even yet been met several weeks after the storm. And generally speaking, I still am looking for the support that people are going to need to process mentally this trauma, because it was traumatic. That we have all experienced, whether we were in the eye of the storm or the relatives of somebody who couldn't find a part.
I will share a story with you. In one of the initiatives I had done, they held hands. And I was just saying, this is a point where if you want to just say anything, you can. This is the space. If you haven't had a space to speak about anything, now is the time. And one of the ladies, she got up and she pretty much said that she's been in depression since. And she wasn't somebody that was at it before, but since, she's been in depression. And she's just been having subsequent deaths coming after. Like after everything, she just said 1 week, somebody gone, somebody gone, somebody gone. And when she was sharing that, she's like, because I came here and I heard everything you guys were saying, I now have a little bit of hope. And from that, that's when I recognized there needs to be more of that drive. Yes, provide the needs, but also give them the space to talk. Give them the opportunity to be able to say, I haven't found my relative, and I finally found a relative, but I don't even know the first place to look. I don't have the energy, because that's the other thing too, You want to recover sometimes, but you don't necessarily have the strength to actually start it. So give them the opportunity to speak, to air what has happened, to feel comfortable. And I help them to understand that the storm is over, you now have sunshine. Stop looking back at the past. You can move forward.
Wow, that is so important. Creating that space that people can express themselves and seek help and talk about how they were impacted.
Absolutely.
But our ministry, you might have to convene some support groups and things, because clearly the need is there.
Need is there.
Right. All right, so let's talk about some of the outreach initiatives that you personally did and what was the impact.
Okay, so the most recent one would have been, I went to Bishop Gibson High School. Hi, girls.
Hi, ladies.
I went to Bishop Gibson High, and I pretty much got some of the student leaders together with the principal. It was it was nice. I met them in the auditorium, and I reminded them to be grateful. So they had a gratitude jar where they wrote down gratitudes, and they left it in there. And I told the principal to actually keep it going for the rest of the year, so she could have it on her desk, and when it's announcements time, she'll just read one of the gratitudes.
Right, that's a great idea.
I also gave them some care packages. I gave them some care packages, and I had also other persons who were there with me, but we spoke about storms not lasting forever. I had Free Your Mind Foundation, which is a mental health foundation. Hi, Mel. We also spoke about, what she spoke about was your market bag. So you may carry your weight on Monday, but when you go down on Wednesday, the weight look heavier. And you try manage it, but by the time you reach Friday, you recognize that the weight where you carry Monday and Wednesday, you can manage it. And you need to remember that sometimes the storms that come in your life help to make you stronger. It really helps to make you stronger. But we were able to also give them some Christmas cheer, a nice little Santa hat, and remind them that there's much more to look forward to. So that was Bishop Gibson. Then I had also gone down to Cornwall to look at the patients who I work with, so dialysis patients. And that one was even more heart-rending because the patients were not well, for sure. Some of them still were in shelters. There had to be some adjustments to their prescription or their treatment because of the reduced resource capacity for Cornwall. So that was just even more difficult to hear. And dialysis itself is an expensive initiative or expensive treatment. So I had to talk to them how to adjust the diet to be able to maneuver that. But even more so, it was actually talking to the staff. When I spoke to some of the nurses who were there, those were nurses who worked through the hurricane. They experienced Melissa on the hospital compound, and then they got the call to be like, yeah, your roof gone. But they still had to be at the hospital. And that stood out even more for their mental health, because when we came, and it wasn't no elaborate plan, you know. But when we came out, we just said, hey, everybody from dialysis, all of the nephrologists, kidney specialists, all of those trained persons, we're showing you that we're supporting you here. We haven't forgotten you. If you want the patients to come to town, we'll try. But if you're managing them here, we're giving you a little break. So my nurses who came with us, they were able to tell them, take a pause, we'll put on the patient. I assessed some of the patients while they were there, cook a little food, run a little boat, and let them feel appreciated. And I also gave them a little medals to be like, thank you so much for working throughout the hurricane. We appreciate you for what you do. And we know we are standing in the gap for you. And we sing with them and we make them feel nice. That's another mental health thing. People even forget that, yes, you want to provide the basic needs, you know, but if you don't have a mind able to function, you can't utilize the things you're being given.
And that is why basic needs, that list needs to be expanded.
Absolutely.
It's not just those three things. The list needs to be expanded. There are other needs that are also basic. Boy, you know, it's so interesting because we, of course, you know, we did a lot of outreach to Her Flow. And one of the things that I was so proud of is that we had a collaboration with the Grassroots Community Foundation. Hi, Janice. And what we wanted to do was to ensure that Jamaicans with disability was remembered. Because remember, a lot of the times with the muss and fuss and things and a whole heap of things, we forget about the deaf children and the blind children. And so we made a donation to them, and we went and we spent some time with them, and we were just, you know, having conversation with them as well, trying to figure out how they are doing and what's going on in their life. And we also went to Holy Trinity High. And it was so good to be back in the classroom. But one of the things that the young ladies are talking about is the fact that they feel as if they are being asked to pretend as if nothing happened.
Exactly.
And so that is how they've been dealing with it. They just kind of put it behind them and trying to move forward. And while that might sound like a good idea, I think that might be problematic, because it just means that this wound is not being dealt with, and therefore it will not heal. It's just there festering. Because if we are not actually facing the thing and dealing with the trauma, is it actually going to be healed? And so I really am just waiting to see how we are going to be supported, especially from a mental health standpoint, because I really think that if we do not address it, we are going to pay the price for it in the long run. And so, you know, that's one of the reasons why we are so focused on trying to share information, trying to converse with people and create spaces where people can speak and share their feelings and vent and get some of the things that they're going through personally out.
And remind them that there are persons who would have either gone through similar, and persons who, I had to tell Bishop Gibson, I said, honestly guys, closed mouths don't get fed.
There it is.
They don't get fed.
You have to say something.
You have to speak so we know. Know that you let us understand that this is your need. Now is the time to say, I have a need.
Yes.
And we will be willing to help you. But if you really just keep it to yourself, how would we be able or given the opportunity to assist in the ways that you need? So I echo the sentiments, because it was the same thing at Bishop Gibson, that, oh, you know, we don't really talk about it. It's like, why? Do you want?
No, they have to focus on their exams.
Right.
It's like one girl found that so offensive. She's like, no, I just have to focus on my exams. Like, we didn't just have this devastating experience, you know? So, and it made sense. So, lessons learned. What did you learn from Hurricane Melissa?
Wow, preparation is key, and prepare well from early. So one of the things I've been sharing with everyone, recover well, recover sustainably. Yes, we're doing relief efforts, but if this was supposed to hit us again, let us make sure that what we're doing now is sustainable so it doesn't hit us again at the same time. Learn the lesson from the hurricane,
Yes.
so that when we're fixing things now, we fix it right, one time done. That was the biggest lesson for me. You know, prepare well, recover well. The other lesson was, do not wait until something has happened for you to decide to help someone. The fact that you could have done it all this time and you felt the need to do it after Melissa, you could have done it from before. You were capable from before.
Yes, you. It's you she's talking to. You.
That was one of the biggest lessons I learned. Yes, I'm grateful Jamaica showed up, but it made me go, all of you could have always been helping. You've always had the heart to help.
I agree with you to a point, and then I'm gonna give them a little bit of grace because they're living them life. Them have things that them pitney never pass the class, and them have to go put them in an extra lesson, and them car just tire punch, and them have to go buy 2 tire now, and they're over there living them life, and they probably wanted to help. They probably wanted to do something, but it wasn't the most pressing thing at the time. And so they put it off. And they put it off, and they put it off, and now there's a hurricane. So I'm gonna give them that little bit of grace because maybe they wanted to help, but they're just living them life and they just didn't get around to it.
Well, fine. A little bit of grace. But what I will say, if in the relief efforts, everybody said, donate what you can, and you recognize that, I can take away some of my clothes or some tin products, or I can buy an extra pad every time I go to the supermarket and just have a little box or bag in your house. And that is just what you donate, whether that is every year or twice a year.
Yes.
But there are some persons where what I got was it was the first time they decided to really help in that way.
Yes.
And to me, if we keep that culture more consistent, because while Melissa showed the West needing help, there were already people in Jamaica that required help.
Oh, you said it already. Melissa exposed the gaps.
Yes.
And there were some glaring gaps.
Yes.
You know, like how some places the trees were there and they're covering all the things, and now the tree blow away, I look over, you see.
Listen, see.
That was always there all the time. That is what happened. Melissa exposed some gaps. So speaking of lessons, I'm going to tell you the lesson that I learned.
All right.
And it's more positive than yours.
Okay.
My lesson is the community is back.
True.
I see communities taking care of the elderly. I see people going into houses where people were shut in, trying to check on them to make sure they're all right. People coming to me begging me products not for themselves but for somebody else. When we go into the communities, I see people collecting things. No man, Miss Daryl, big daughter, she down there with her mother, she couldn't get to come. I'm going to carry a bag for her. And people really looking out for them one another. They're cooking communal pots and miss this dinner send gone and mass that dinner send gone, and the community is back. And that is where that was a strength for us. And we were losing our communities as Jamaicans. And Melissa forced us to get back into community with each other. And I want us to continue to build on that, because that is how we are going to be better than we were before. Because we're not trying to go back to what we used to be. We're going to go back better.
You're talking true, because when I was down Bishop Gibson, that's one of the things I think about. The basis of humanity is community. So, thank you. I did learn that lesson. But thank you for reminding me.
Yeah, man, for sure. All right, so let's talk about some things that you all can do to continue our recovery with dignity effort. Now, as we know, the recovery is not going to be a sprint. It's going to take a marathon, and there's a whole heap of work to be done, and people still need help. I know a lot of people jumped in right after the hurricane and say, yo, I have to go do this, I have to help, I have to donate and all of that. Don't stop with that energy. You know, you probably can't go as hard as you did, but every little bit counts. So it's going to take a sustainable effort, so we expect to see the support continue. So I have some suggestions right here. So I'm going to read one and then you read one.
Okay.
We're cooperating today. Yes. So you can go with the first one.
First, donate essential menstrual and personal care products. So that's pads, tampons, reusable products, soaps, hygiene kits to Her Flow Foundation.
Send them come. And if you don't want to give it to us personally, you know somebody who needs it, can't go get them, it's fine. You don't necessarily have to give it to Her Flow, but the point is donate these products because yes, people need food, yes, they need water, they also need personal care, they need hygiene, they need to feel clean. You know, Jamaicans, clean is very important to Jamaicans, yes.
That's why I said, put the little bag, little box right in the corner of the house, and every day just drop one thing in there. And then by the time the month finish, you have something.
Okay, all right, so before we get into the others, we're gonna take a little break right here, and then we come back. We have 4 more tips to give you to help you help the rest of we recover with dignity. Don't move. Let's normalize the talk, celebrate the experience, and make periods something we're proud to discuss. Welcome to the conversation. We need to hear from you. Send your questions, comments, suggestions to embraceherflow@gmail.com. You can also like, share, and subscribe to our channel, Period TV. Welcome back. We're talking about recovery with dignity with my good guest, Dr. Kimone Young.
Hello.
And we were giving you some tips on how you can contribute to the recovery as we get back on track, you know, after the hurricane, Melissa came and did what she did. As a matter of fact, if your name is Melissa, start using middle name. I don't want to talk to nobody named Melissa in 2026. You all right? You are on my bad list. Let's focus. All right, so we told you already, donate essential items, menstrual products, personal care, such and such. Now we're gonna beg you some money. Support financially. It takes cash to care. You don't have to do the bust down this week. Get scalp a little breeze and give it the big money. Make we continue to help people build back and so you can donate. You can donate to Her Flow, or you can donate to any other organization that you want to help who's helping with the support efforts.
And you can also volunteer your time or your skills. So you can package away, you can distribute away, and you can raise awareness. And even in some ways, just sharing the social media works. But don't just share. Look on social media, find the different places that are doing the packaging and doing the distributing. There's so many, but you know, Her Flow is also here. And you can also look at healthcare workers, educators, or even just logistics specialists who are there, and they can provide the targeted support to help. So volunteer your time or your skill. If you can help repair one roof, carry your toolbox go down there.
And look here, your skill don't have to necessarily be them kind of skill there. You know, if you're a graphic artist, trust me, somebody need your help. Some small business need some help to promote them thing. So you can volunteer that as well. Whatever skill you have, all of it counts. All right? Raising awareness is very important because a lot of people don't know what is happening and where and all of that. So if the best thing you have is an active platform, use it and raise awareness, bring the attention to people who need help, bring the attention to people who are doing the helping. Just do what you can to put the word out.
It's true. And as you raise awareness, you are also becoming more of an advocate. And advocates are just persons that we just go and we change conversation flow. So advocate for policy and community support. Tell your school, tell your church, tell all the local persons that you know. Please help those in the West. Make people tired for hear about it.
When them tired, tell them again.
Tell them again. Advocate as well for preparedness, because yes, we can relieve and recover with dignity, but when you prepare, it's even better for us.
Believe it or not, the hurricane season starts again in June.
Yep. So just prepare.
We don't want no more hurrine. I only have one category 5 hurricane on my bingo card. I don't want no more. All right. Thank you so much. Dr. Kimone, thank you so much.
Shelly,
You're so awesome
you
for
are
helping me,
awesome.
guiding the people. But listen,
Absolutely.
at the end of the day, we are all in this thing together. And as Jamaicans, we're going to do what we do best. And we're going to put our heads together. And we're going to come out bigger and better because we know how to look resilience in the eye and smile with it and still continue to be who we are. Because we say, turn we on and make fashion. We don't afraid of resilience and toughness. And we say, strong and build back and bring back and remix. I don't know who I'm cussing, but all right. We're going to take one last break. I'll come back with Ask the Period Lady.
Hey.
Everyday Period is brought to you by Her Flow Foundation, empowering Jamaicans one flow at a time. Her Flow's flagship project is to end the period poverty in Jamaica. Since inception, Her Flow has donated over 15 million menstrual products to Jamaicans in need. To learn more about Her Flow, please visit the website herflowfoundation.com. And now it's time for my favorite segment of the show, Ask the Period Lady. Okay. That's when you send your questions and I answer them. And if you'd like your question to be featured on our next Ask the Period Lady, all you have to do is send us an email to theperiodlady@gmail.com. So, Dr. Kimone, go ahead and read this week's question.
Okay, so this week's question comes from Liz. Hi, Period Lady.
Hi, Liz.
After Hurricane Melissa, I noticed that many women in my community didn't have access to pads or tampons. Period Lady.
Yes.
What can I do to support them? And how can we make sure menstrual health stays a priority during emergencies?
Excellent question, Liz. First of all, follow Her Flow Foundation on all digital spaces because we have been very integral to supplying menstrual products to Jamaicans who need it. And we can help you, help your community, those persons who are experiencing period poverty, especially after the hurricane, to get their products and so that they can continue to recover in dignity. If you don't want to go that route, you're free to start your own drive. Get your other friends and family, whether who lives in the community or beyond, to contribute to a drive so you can get those products available for your community members. Listen, we're going to be going the long haul where this is concerned, so you're probably going to have to do a little bit of both. But I hope that you can go ahead and get your drive started soon because, trust me, periods don't stop for hurricanes and they don't stop after either. So these women are going to need all the help they can get as soon as possible. So get the word out, start doing your drive, and I will support you as much as we can through Her Flow Foundation. Thank you so much for your question, Liz, and big up yourself for looking out for the women in your community. And remember, if you want your question to be featured on the next Ask the Period Lady, all you have to do is email us, theperiodlady@gmail.com.
I have the honor of giving you your challenge for the week, correct? Mm-hmm. Now remember I said you put aside the little bag or the little box. So in that little bag or box, include menstrual products in all care packages. So to those who are still providing relief, menstrual products in all of them. Every somebody must get a menstrual care product. Pad, tampon, anything, you name it.
Tissue wipes,
sanitizer, everything. All care packages.
Zinc nail pad.
Zinc nail.
Pour before ply
pad. Yes.
Tarpaulin
pad.
All the care package.
Thank you.
All right. We're having too much fun and the fun
really
must come to an end.
Like that.
So thank you very much, Dr. Kimone, for joining us for another episode of Everyday Period.
Thank you for having me, my friend.
It was another fun episode. You're so awesome.
You're awesome. She's
and
awesome.
We've got to get out of here.
True.
And as we do that, I just want to remind you that reproductive health is not just about periods and pregnancies. It's about how you take care of yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, even socially. Remember, from puberty to menopause, reproductive health is an important part of your overall life experience. So take care of yourself and each other. Until next time, remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe to Period TV. And follow us on LinkedIn, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram at Herflow Foundation, and visit our website, herflowfoundation.com. I want to say a big ups to our production team, AP Run Digital Pro, and to you for tuning in to another episode of Everyday Period. I am Shelly-Ann, the Period Lady. Take care. What good. Shelly-Ann Weeks is a sexual and reproductive health educator, award-winning activist, and the founder and executive director of Herflow Foundation, a Jamaican nonprofit dedicated to ending period poverty and advancing menstrual health and gender equity in Jamaica. With over a decade of experience in education, advocacy, and community outreach, she is widely known as the Period Lady for her bold, accessible approach to reproductive health education and policy advocacy.